We are here on this beautiful morning and we are at Lake Meadow Naturals Farm in Ocoee with Andre, who is
the Customer Relations Coordinator.
Customer Relations Coordinator here. For some reason I can't get that all together in my brain. And he's going to walk us through the farm at Lake Meadow Naturals, showing their egg processing, because you guys may have heard in the news this week about the big factory farms that had a huge Salmonella outbreak where over 200 million eggs have been recalled. So we want to show you guys the contrast of a real small local farm raising eggs in a natural and healthy way. And Andre's going to give us some of the information on that as we kind of start walking. But I wanted to point out really quick that if you guys didn't know, at Lake Meadow Naturals on Fridays and Saturdays, you can actually come pick your own eggs. You can bring your kids and pick your own eggs out of here, which is a whole nother fun experience. You hear the birds going buck wild back there.
Yeah, and guinea hens.
All right, so we're gonna walk this way. And Lake Meadows, tell us a little bit about like the farm store, and because we're walking right by that.
Right.
So.
Our farm store is open 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. A good general rule of thumb is to remember that 10 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Okay.
We do have some windowed days, like on Thursday we stay open an extra hour to 6, and on Saturday we're open an hour early at 9. But as long as people keep in mind 10 to 5, we're good.
Perfect. So you guys can come by that little farm store. But we're going to get down to business, and we're going to talk about the big thing that's been in the news with the eggs and with Salmonella.
Right.
And can you tell us a little bit about what conditions are at those factory farms that have caused this big outbreak?
Sure. Well, what you have to remember about conventional growing is that it's all about money.
Right.
And a lot of folks are like, well, why am I going to pay more for an egg? It's just an egg. And it's really not. Eggs aren't eggs. Okay, It's not all the same stuff.
Right.
Typical factory raised eggs, you're going to be looking at thousands of birds packed into a very tiny space. And the interesting part about all of that is that today, the big thing these days is cage-free eggs. And I have a lot of people that ask me, well, what's the difference between your eggs and so-and-so's eggs, because theirs is like half the price of yours? And I say, well, what are they? They say, well, they're a cage-free egg. Right, but what are they? Well, they're a cage-free egg. I'm like, are they clean? Are they all natural? Well, they're cage-free. Doesn't mean anything about that. Cage-free, because of what the lobbyists have done, because for a lot of people it's just about money.
Right.
They have gotten it to where the definition of cage-free literally just means that the bird is not in a cage that is 12 by 12 inches.
Wow.
But a larger cage is perfectly fine. Now, that being said, you do have to consider safety factor. For example, our birds here, they are allowed to see the sun, they're allowed to get outside, stretch their wings, stretch their legs and everything, and do their thing. Right. But at the same time, we've got Florida red wolf, we've got bobcats, so we do have to keep them in larger enclosures
like
for
the
the
ones
sake
we
of,
just saw at the front. Right.
Correct, for the sake of safety. And even that for us is the smallest type of enclosure that we would have, right? And it's fairly large.
Right, it is, because they have plenty of room in there. Obviously, they're not in a tight, confined space.
No.
Which those are the conditions that whenever they're in those small cages like factory farms that harbor like, you know, all the bacteria and stuff, because they're sitting there in their own feces and it's just not clean like how a nice open farm would be.
Right, and they actually pack them in so tightly that not only are the conditions just not very clean, but then on top of that, the birds start to get stressed. When the birds get stressed and establish a pecking order, and they might scratch one another, those scratches can get infected, and that's how you end up with a big outbreak. And then also because they're constantly sitting in their own mess, essentially, they end up also consuming that at the same time.
So shut the door?
Sure, yeah.
Let me shut this really quickly, keep the chickens in.
So basically at the same time, along with being in those unclean living conditions, what also happens is that their food stock becomes contaminated too. So then they're starting to consume all all the refuse and all the bad stuff, and that's how it gets inside of the eggs. So basically the difference between that and this is here, our birds, obviously our girls, one of our groups is running around today. We do have to make sure that we have a little bit of age security. So we have 2 different enclosures here, and so we let one group out and then corral them back in, let the other group out just for the sake of age and for biosecurity, making sure that only one group is out at the same time. And in the evening, they're always corralled back in. Again, as I was saying, we do have predators. We actually lost a pair of beautiful swans a couple of weeks ago to a bobcat. Last spring, we lost 40 laying ducks, and they weren't just roaming around somewhere. They were in an enclosure with 4.5-foot fences, and so the predators
still find ways to get to them.
Exactly. So there has to be a definite balance between making sure that they have plenty of room and at the same time making sure that they are safe and taking care of their well-being as well, which is what we do. That's why we have these higher fences on this side. And at night we do close the doors. They don't come out at night anyway. The girls,
they're in their coops.
Exactly.
They're cozy.
They pop out in the morning like this. Even that house over there, you can see that they're already starting to head back in. They only come out for a little while first thing in the morning. They like to scratch and peck and whatnot, and then they're kind of like humans. They like the air conditioner, so they go inside where there's plenty of food and water and cool air.
Airflow, right.
Exactly.
Yes, I'm getting, if you take a look over here, I'm getting cleaned by the chickens. They're giving me my morning pecking. Hi. So would you be able to show us inside and show us some of the packing area of how you guys process your eggs and everything?
Absolutely,
because
we can certainly
even though you guys are a small farm, there's still all of the regulated and professional ways that you have to clean and process your eggs so that they are safe.
And we are a USDA inspected processor. We do wash our eggs because that is one of the things required by the USDA, but at the same time we use an organic egg wash.
Okay.
So again, it's clean. It's
awesome.
There are actually folks that are allergic to regular egg washes.
Really?
They'll be able to smell them as the eggs are cooking because eggs are porous.
Right.
So whatever you put on that egg, it's going to get in that egg, and that's why we want to make sure and stay very, very clean on anything that we do.
This is the egg room, which I think they're just cleaning up really quick.
Yep.
Hold on one second.
This is all part of working. We've been working hard to make sure that we get the eggs down to some of our larger resorts and hotels today. And one of the things about staying clean and making sure that we are meeting all the government standards is to be sure that between everything that we do, we're also cleaning out. So once again, Jose is over here. He's got a cleaner on the floor again. It's something that's safe to be around eggs for the purpose of it staying as natural as possible. But he's making sure that the floor is clean between packing eggs out and then grading eggs as well.
Okay.
Which our egg grader, essentially what we do is the guys are the ones going outside and collecting eggs out from under the rear ends of the girls every morning. And so what they do...
That's another big difference too between the factory farms and a farm like this. The factory farms, even where they're cage-free, they're still in the cages where it's a conveyor belt, right?
Absolutely. It's a large system. I can actually get you a picture of that. You can take it to the store if you want.
Okay.
It's this contraption-looking thing, and the birds basically are in like a little dormitory. It's not very big. And so everything is all-inclusive there. Their water is all automatic. The food is all automatic. And even the gathering of the eggs is a conveyor belt. They lay, and the egg rolls down to the little conveyor and just gets taken on out to packing.
You guys hand-pick the eggs out of the
That is correct. It's a lot
because,
safer for the girls.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. I think they might be almost finished. And then
it looks like it, and they are actually rolling with some eggs.
Okay. Yay! Let's come on inside.
So basically, Robbie, if you want to go down that way, you can.
Yeah, he's starting the egg roll.
Basically, we go ahead and get everything on a conveyor belt. Kyle's down there laying out eggs, and you can see that they go through a candler. We actually make sure that none of the eggs that we place in cartons are cracked. By regulation, you're allowed to have 3% cracks in your cartons.
Really?
And so what a lot of the big companies will do is they'll actually take all the cracked ones out, and at the very end they put 3% fat in.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so we actually handle all of our eggs. We wash them with a clean wash.
The candle is just a light that shows through so you can
Correct.
see any cracks.
If there's any cracks or abnormalities, we go ahead and take those out.
Okay.
Because we are committed to a premium quality product, which, you know, it's not to say that there's necessarily anything wrong with a cracked egg,
Right.
but it doesn't have the same shelf life, and we certainly don't want to pass that on to anybody else.
Exactly.
So the eggs are cleaned and washed. They come down this way, and they go over a little computerized scale, and you'll notice some of our eggs are a little bit dirtier than others. We'll actually run those through the wash again.
Okay.
But the grader measures the eggs by weight.
Right.
And so not by size. There's gram windows
Okay.
that each size can be in. And we have a pullet, medium, large, extra large, jumbo. And oh my gosh, how did that chicken lay that egg? She must have cried.
It's like turkey egg status.
Yes, we actually have some colossals right now. They're very large. We do have some pullets right now, which that's the first 3 weeks of laying. It's a very nutrient-dense egg.
Those are the really small eggs.
Correct.
Right.
But again, we always have 2 houses here, a younger and an older.
Okay.
So we always get a wide range of sizes, but they're actually going to go anywhere from, you know, some of the teeny tiny ones like these over here, skillet snake. And that is an itty bitty little egg. And then, you know, over here, significantly
Oh, wow.
different. And a
That's
lot of it has
big
to do just with the age of the bird.
Yeah. Okay.
And by the time they're laying jumbos, most of the time with our jumbos, they're actually also going to be double yolked.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, which if you guys ever got that, it's like you feel like you won the lottery. You get double yolk in your egg. I noticed that whenever we eat jumbo eggs, like usually there's 2 or 3 in each dozen that have
Right.
2 yolks in it.
yeah, I actually have a chef right now that's about to start using our jumbos for a jumbo deviled egg appetizer.
Oh wow.
Somebody in Winter Garden.
That sounds awesome.
Can't say who yet.
Somebody. So she's just packing these up here, and actually this week what we're going to be giving away as this week's giveaway for anybody who comments is we're going to be having 2 winners. So each winner will get 1 dozen of the large eggs. I'll just show you guys the size right here. This is their large eggs. This dozen's not quite finished, but their eggs will be doing the giveaway next week. So if you guys comment, you'll be entered to win that. Stick this back. Oh, wait a second.
That's okay.
Okay. And
Certainly
then,
don't want to spill the eggs on your shoes.
oh yeah, I'll take that. Awesome, thank you.
There you go.
Here's a bunch of eggs that we just picked up. So we'll go back out here and
Sure.
finish up. Okay. Got some shave going on. Here. Thank you. Awesome. All right, so we'll just come back over here. So actually, Farmer Dale, he lives on this farm, and so this is all what I guess you would consider more of a gentleman's farm is what they call it.
Sure.
Sure, we have a gentleman who owns the farm, and he's amazing. So I'm sure we have very many more visits to do back at Lake Meadows, because there is a lot of stuff you guys have going on. We carry their
Right.
eggs in our store, as well as a number of their meats and a whole bunch of their kitchen products. So we're
Absolutely.
going to have to come back and walk through the kitchen to learn all about the difference of what makes you guys' meat so much better and
Right.
all of that. But Andre, I appreciate your time and showing
Absolutely.
us the eggs today
It was great.
in our bountiful egg basket.
There you go.
And we hope that you guys can grab some eggs from a local farm from Lake Meadow Naturals. You can visit this farm and pick them up here. Again, you can pick them up at our store at the pharmacy. And then you can feel safe and secure knowing that you can actually see how the chickens are raised,
Absolutely.
knowing there's no phony baloney business going on
Right.
with labeling.
Well, and we like to be transparent about that,
Yes.
because a lot of the other places, even the ones that are labeled clean, organic, all natural, cage-free, all that kind of stuff, they're not going to let you on the property to see how they're actually raising.
Right.
Anybody who would like a tour here, they're welcome to come and look in the houses.
That's awesome. So we really appreciate that. We appreciate our local farms. We hope you guys can pick up some good eggs that is salmonella worry-free.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And be sure to comment so that you can be entered to win our free dozen that will actually be completed at that time.
Right.
And we'll be announcing the 2 winners next week. We appreciate you guys joining us, and thank you so much for your time, Andre.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you, Kathy.
All right, have a good one, guys. Thank you.